happens. I do not have the intro fired up, so we're not going to do the whole intro video. Instead, I'm just going to vamp for a few minutes before we bring up our guest. So if you don't know me, my name is Jeff Outlaw. I am the co-founder and chief experience officer at YOM. I do a lot of the media outreach these days, and I've been on spaces like a ton. Starting this week, I'm going to be on, I think, 7 different spaces, and we're doing more of these podcasts this week. Tomorrow, we're going to have Martin from Peak, the chief business officer, on board. We're going to talk to him for about an hour to discuss the YOM and Peak partnership. But today, it's a very special treat. So I'm bringing on a new community member, someone who reached out. He did a great bit of diagramming of what our ecosystem looks like at a very high level. It was super powerful. I loved taking a look at it. So I invited him to come on board for one of these podcasts. I thought it would be an interesting way to introduce people who are new to the community. Let him be the voice of those people who are newly discovering YOM and what we do. If you are new to us, let me give a quick rundown of what we do. We are a decentralized cloud gaming network. So we allow games to be streamed to any URL, like to any website, inside of Telegram, inside of Discord. What we're doing is we're opening up discovery for anybody who is building a high quality game. They want to get more people to play, and they want to get past that download and install barrier that has kept so many people from even demoing a game or trying a game sample. We get away from that entirely, and we allow players to discover a game just by simply clicking on a link, and then we'll see that adds to the virality too. I found a game that I like, I send my buddy the link, and we're not waiting for him to download and install and update drivers for us to play together. We're just playing together immediately. So it's a very big draw. A lot of the publishers we're talking to are saying this is exactly the tool they're looking for to get adoption for their games more rapidly. For people who are in our community, to give you a quick update of where we are, again, we just really recently announced that Discord demo has been working for us. So now we're able to stream inside Discord. We haven't put it live publicly. We're just still shaking the bugs out. But you saw the video, and it's pretty powerful. And once again, this is, I think we beat NVIDIA, and Discord had announced that they're going to start working on a collaboration like that. But we beat them to it. So we're calling first and bragging a little bit about that. It's a big piece. The other thing is we're onboarding one by one these new Wave 2 testers to expand our reach. This includes, we got one shipping down to Brazil. I think the one the one in Sweden is live. We put that live. A couple in Canada have gone out, and I think they've been received already. So the test network is expanding. And again, all this to work towards shaking out the bugs for the onboarding process, making sure that it's entirely plug and play when we ship those first 300 units out sometime at the end of September. I think that kind of covers all, but we're getting ready. Oh no, travel's like starting to ramp up too. So in September and October, we've got Token 2049 in Singapore, Korean Blockchain Week. There's an event in Japan also for gaming, I believe, that we're sending people to. So we're going to be all over Asia in the next month and a half. So that's going to keep those guys pretty busy. I'll be staying here, manning the fort, attending these spaces. And if you haven't seen the list of spaces for this week, again, Thursday at our normal time, we'll be on the spaces that we're hosting. And then on Friday, we're joining Neo Tokyo in the space that they're hosting. So I'll be there as well. Okay, that's enough of an intro. I think they've given plenty of people to find us, find the stream, and get involved. Let us bring up our guest. He goes by GadgetLeo, or I think I can just call him Leo. Is Leo a good place to start? Can I just call you Leo?
Yes, sir. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Very good. Welcome to it. Now, you joked a little bit about being nervous about it, but don't worry about it. I'll be as gentle as possible.
Yeah, I know. All good.
Okay.
By the way, I love the background there.
Oh, this right here.
Yeah, is it your office?
Yeah, when I first started doing town halls and live streams, I had my bookcase behind me because I thought, oh, books will make me look smart. But a couple of people were like, no, you got to clean that up because it was kind of a mess. I did a green screen for like 1 or 2 broadcasts too. It was even worse. But I do woodworking kind of as a hobby. So I had all the scrap wood in the garage. All the stuff we did my daughter's wall with that wood overlay. So I kind of crafted a wall behind me and did the light and everything just because I like to build stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a good upgrade. It's a good upgrade for sure.
It may try to give that professional look. I had the professional microphone. I needed to have the professional environment. So So let's tell. We haven't really done much of a pre-call. I'm curious about where in the world you live, how you got involved into blockchain entirely. What about DePIN is sending you our way? But I guess I'll start with the first part. Where in the world are you located, and how did you get into blockchain?
Uh, I'm from India, and
Okay.
I got into the blockchain world from airdrops. I mean, I think a lot of the people have been onboarded to Web3 using the incentives part, and like I was like one of them, and like for a couple of months I explored multiple like projects and platforms and discords and stuff. But then in the end, like you have to figure out a niche kind of, and I'm still trying to like do it. And then like deepen is something I came across like last year. I, Honestly, I think when I started my airdrop journey, the first project which I started was grass, and I think it's also a deepen like a project, and it's one of the most decently, I would say, like rewarding airdrops. So that's how I onboarded like to blockchain. Yeah.
When you have to, so it's interesting because we have ties to India as well. We have a couple partners who are there. Our CTO is originally from India, and we know that gaming and cloud games in particular are starting to really take off in India. So it is an area of interest to us about expanding that area. We have one node active there in the test net, and I think we're trying to add a couple more. So maybe at some point we talk about getting you on board as one of our node testers if you've got that kind of machine at home. But I was going to ask, the DePIN is it, if you have to explain DePIN to people who are hearing about it for the first time, how do you explain what a DePIN is?
I would just, I mean, in short, if I had to explain in like a couple of lines, it would be community owned physical infrastructure, and which is like, I mean, like decentralization is still a term that like a normie doesn't I mean understand, or like he cares about the stuff, right? So in the end, for him it's about why the product or like the infrastructure matters for him. Why is like the app he's downloading, what sort of incentive the app is providing him, and like what sort of like data is he like in the end providing the company, or like the app publisher. So if we had to explain it to him, like users own the product, uh, users use the product, and then in the end users and company both are rewarded in a transparent way, and there's like no like no middleman or like a big corporation in between them.
That's a pretty good way to say it. Have you had reasons of bringing that explanation to people, or people in your circle curious about what you're getting involved in, or do you kind of keep it under the radar?
I mean, there's not a lot of people. I mean, especially with like the incentive, I would say like the point of view, because not a lot of products in deepen are free and like have real value. And like a lot of the products are not available in India, I would say, because a lot of the good products, let's say if we take an example of like a combiner, which is like a really good, I would say, like deepen project, and then in that case it's not available in India. And like with respect to a lot of like the projects in peak ecosystem, they don't have yet I mean are in India. We have a few more which are actually Indian origin. I came across them like, I would say, a few weeks back, and I was actually a bit like surprised that okay, we have a few builders in India that are actually like building stuff that matters. Yeah, that's what
There's a
happened.
lot of tech though that comes out of India. I know the people that I interact with in India are very tech focused. They're very smart about what's the new technology, what blockchain is bringing to people. So it's not. It certainly is making it's got its footholds there already.
I mean, in terms of, let's say, like the marketing aspect, I don't know. I could be like a beginner in Web3. As I said, I'm still like a beginner in Web3, so I don't have, let's say, a lot of these connections that I would like give me this alpha. But then again, how I came to know about the product was through like a friend. I was in a space with this guy, and then I know that okay, this guy is building in India. So like spaces are my go to places to like to know about people and alphas, and like new projects.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. So how many spaces do you think you attend a week? I mean, is it 2, 3, or is it more like 12, 14?
I think at this I mean, it depends. Like I'm also like I mean, I create like content on X. So if let's say I have to go hard on a day, I would barely go for like 1 or 2 hours. But then if I feel like, okay, I don't feel like creating any content today, and I'll just like make my replies and stuff, I I'll go on like 4 or 5, or like even, I mean, even more hours in these spaces.
Wow. Wow. That's per
So
day.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, what type of space is it? Who's running the space? If it's like a friend space, I'll go there. If it's for like clipping, like perspective, I create a lot of clips for these spaces. Like, I clip them and then I publish them. So like, I go in these spaces for alphas also. Like, okay, if this guy is saying something which like everyone wants to hear, I'll just go in this space and like and listen to it.
Right. And that's how I found you too. That wasn't the clip, but it was the diagram that you did. Now, the software that you used to make that diagram, someone else had asked, but what is that you're using to make those
Oh,
diagrams?
it was Xcali Draw.
Have you been using that for a while?
Yes, I've been using it for like a couple of months now. I mean, I'm not an expert at it, but like I'm still learning. It's like a lot of guys in the market who do like, I mean, who use it way better than me.
Well, I liked it because again, it simplified what it is that we do, which is it's because in many ways I think what we do can get really complex. Um, so we started talking on through DMs. You started asking some pretty good questions, and that's kind of what led to doing this. What Let me throw it to you real quick and ask you. You want to jump in and start asking questions about what do you? So actually, first, how did you find YOM? Was it through the Peak ecosystem? Is that how you got introduced to us?
Oh yes, I mean, I mean, I also like create content for like Peak in general, as it is on like the Kaito leaderboard. So like, I mean, we are all creating content. I mean, I like the Peak ecosystem, and like that's why I'm exploring their page and like scanning through all of, I mean, a few projects that like make sense. And then I came across YOM, and then I realized that, okay, cloud gaming. I mean, I've been a gamer. I've been like a big time like gamer in my school and college days. And then I realized that, okay, this is like a deep in project which is also working in cloud gaming. So that's how I came across YOM.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think that we end up being we're a pretty good project for onboarding people because I think to understand DePIN, it's very helpful to have an understanding of basic um, hardware and computer hardware. So gamers generally have a good understanding of how to build a really good PC. And it's not all of them, but a lot of them. So I think that it helps to be in the gaming space because you've already got some people who are technically adept getting involved in your project, which is I think one of the reasons why we end up. I feel like we're one of the attractive partners inside the YOM ecosystem. But I mean, the whole ecosystem's got something for everybody. I would say. So tomorrow I'm going to have Martin, who I've met a number of times. He's a really good guy. He's the chief business officer at Peak. I'm going to have him on doing the same thing you're doing on the hot seat. But generally, we'll have best between the two of us. So
I've
okay,
been, I've been,
go ahead.
I've been like trying to get someone from like the Peak team on like a space, because I think that's like a very big part of what, I mean, the current like the market, or like the bull market is all about, especially with all of the teams in this like the InfoFi era are going on spaces and like and interacting with the community. But I think like in terms of Peak and what they're like team is doing, they are really lacking on this aspect. I've talked about to with one of the team members, but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to again like get them on a space with me. But yeah, I,
Are you
I
hosting?
I hope it happens.
So you're hosting spaces yourself?
Oh yes, I mean, okay, I used to host spaces myself initially, but then again, I'm a small account right now. I don't have enough connections. But then, and again, to host like good spaces and like interview good people, you need to have some connections. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've stopped it right now, but I still host them when I need to. Yeah.
Nice. Well, if we can do anything to help promote your spaces, please let us know because I like again where your head's at, and I like um, the tack you're taking about focusing on DePIN. So if we can support it, we'll certainly will try.
Maybe in the future, once like your product is live and we have some actual users, like the reviews, and then I'll maybe invite you to a space of mine.
Yeah, let's do that. But let's get to it then. What kind of questions when you first came in, you started asking some questions. Let's pretend that again you're kind of, I don't have to pretend too much. You're new to this to our project, and what are some of the first things you noticed on the way in and questions that you had?
So like the important question, or like the first question I would have is, who is YOM built for? Is it like focused on, let's say, like the big titles in the market that already has a user base, or is it more for like the upcoming small publishers and the creators who are like trying to get more exposure in the market?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when we first started out, we had this vision of being sort of a YouTube for independent game developers, because we allow you to stream through any URL, or and eventually we had plans to build an aggregator, like a YouTube like site. Because we have that kind of flexibility and not forcing people into a platform, like a launcher or anything like that, we felt that this would really appeal towards the independent gamers and the small studios. And that's still something that's open. We're not closing that door. But as we've been talking to game publishers, we've been to a couple of the pretty big game conferences, this year, GDC, and then Develop Brighton, and then most recently Gamescom in Cologne, Germany, which is the largest in the world. A lot of the publishers are saying to us, no, the thing that they're struggling with, and this is large and small publishers, is getting people to try the game, just to discover the game. That players are, and the stats kind of prove this out, players are locked into the game that they've been playing for years and years. They may devote 6% of their leisure time or the gaming time to try a new title, but that's only 6%. It's a very small amount. So part of the hesitation to try something new, or part of the reasons why they don't try anything new, is because the download and install issue is just it's hard to overcome. So the cloud gaming idea has been in their heads for the longest time, but again, it's so expensive to do it from an Amazon server or a central server. So when we talk to them about the idea that it's 95% cheaper to stream from our cloud because it's decentralized than to stream from Amazon, and that you can put it inside of a Discord thread or Telegram thread and just let people pass it around very fast, that became immediately the driver for us. We're kind of gearing ourselves towards the publishers of medium and large games, to put up a demo of the game, a sample of the game, and then that would walk people into the download and install site, the payment site. So it's more of a marketing play than it is a purely player game for free. Now we can do all that. It's not to say again we wouldn't close the door to it, but we really do feel like the strength for the market as it currently stands is to be a way to onboard players for the first time and to help build discovery and virality.
Oh, okay. I mean, you mentioned something about GamesCon, and I was doing my research like yesterday about the product, about YOM, and then I found out that you won like an award in GamesCon. What was that about? I'm really interested in
It's
that.
a softball pitch. I appreciate it. So yeah, it's like, or I guess if I could come up with a good cricket analogy, I'd give you a good cricket analogy. That was just a very easy one to hit at. Yeah, when we go to these conferences, generally we try to make sure that our presence is more than just us walking around the game floor. We either try to get a speaking gig or some kind of visibility on a stage. And for Gamescom, there's an event called Invest. And the Invest event is where startups like ourselves, and we're a little bit more than a startup, but still considered a startup, they throw a pitch document at the selection committee to say we think our pitch, our startup is worthy of demoing in front of or talking about in front of a larger group. So there's more than 300, not quite 350 projects that applied for a speaking role, but they were only going to award 10. And we got awarded one of those 10, which we thought itself was just like the biggest deal. And then so we went and we pitched among 10 projects our technology to this committee. And the committee is made up of people, like 5 or 6 people from the gaming industry. These are people who've been in the gaming industry for like 20 years. They either have run studios or they've run infrastructure projects kind of like ours. And yeah, we ended up winning best game tech startup company of 2025. So there were 2 awards that were given out, one for the best studio to invest in, and one is for the best technology to invest in. So for us, we probably haven't done nearly a good enough job broadcasting this. But yeah, we got awarded the best tech startup for 2025 from the largest gaming conference held in the world at the one investment event that they have. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly okay. So when I went to like one of the LinkedIn, like the pages of I mean, I was scouting your like website, and then I came across like all the LinkedIn profiles. I then went ahead and scouted all of them, and then one article I read, I heard Gamescom, and I was like, why don't I mean, why are not people? I mean, more people are not really talking about this. Like, how is it so hidden in the market?
Again, it falls probably more on our shoulders than anybody else's. We don't spend our marketing spend has been pretty to this point pretty modest, and that's intentional because we were putting all of our resources into building the technology. We really wanted to, and you'll this is a theme for most of our marketing or most of the questions you might have about say Discord or our Telegram or we have spent so much. We're just so focused on the idea that we've seen vaporware projects pop up and fall away. And we've seen a lot of people invest in great ideas that didn't have the technology to support it, or they were never able to build the technology, or the runway runs out before they finish the technology for their great big idea. And we didn't want to be one of those. We're very much focused on the idea that let's put more effort into building the technology and show that it works, so we don't ever get lumped in with all the vaporware that's come out in the past and that's launched NFTs and had people drain their wallets for an NFT on a project that never gets launched. It was much more important for us that we build the technology and prove it out and test it out. And it's costly. I mean, the amount of engineering time and effort that goes into it, just it takes some money. So we're at the point now, though, because we are getting ready to start selling those first 300 nodes and to go into our TGE in about 2 months. We want to make sure that the community is starting to be really built. So now we're starting to spend money, but it is almost a cold start. I mean, not entirely. We've got a really dedicated community that has been with us for a long time. It's a small but dedicated community. And it really is a matter now of starting to really ramp up that effort. We've brought in a fractional CMO who's getting started in 2 days. I've been just, again, it's one of the reasons why I'm on more spaces and more videos to get more visibility. And we'll keep on mining that award, I'm sure, for the next month. The hope is in about, if you talk to me in 2 weeks' time, you're going to be like, oh, I'm so sick of hearing about this damn award. Can you stop talking about it?
No, yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense to like to build on the hype that you guys have. I mean, it's not small to be awarded with that big of like. I mean, it's like a really big achievement. Yeah, that's. I mean, in terms of. I mean, as you mentioned, like the node cost and then like the marketing cost. Did you guys have like a backer or like an investor?
Yeah, so we've had we're in investment round now, and we've had investors come through and that have got us this far, right? We've got some Outlier Ventures and Borderless Capital, 2 of the bigger names in the blockchain space, who have been with us for over a year now. We were part of a incubator program that they had. They've done a lot of introduction to us to other investors. So yeah, we're backed and backed by some pretty good names in the space. We are still obviously trying to pair with even more. We're fortunate in that we can be, I don't want to say picky. What we are is making sure that the people who invest in us, or the capital, the VCs who invest in us, that they know this space. So again, that we're not feeling like we're taking advantage of anybody, and that they have connections in the space that are going to ultimately help us. And they're not out just to kind of make a quick buck and then exit and pull money away from us. So you take we're happy to help people in VC world make money, but we don't want is to then make money on the backs of our community members or people who believe in our long-term technological advancements. So in that way, we're being a little bit picky and trying to find those or working most closely with VCs who are in the game tech world.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I've seen a lot of projects just do absurd stuff in terms of the TGE,
Right.
especially because they have the hype of the VCs and the backing, but then in the end, even the VCs are looking for the profits. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, and
uh
that TG is a particularly sticky, touchy point for us because we do know that this space puts a lot of value in the rise of the token. Your token's rising, that means your technology is good. Token's falling, that means your technology is bad. When that's just not the case. I mean, obviously we want our token to rise. We kind of would prefer a much long, steady upward trend than a big spike and drop, because a spike and drop, just people, many times it's the case that it is just a pump and dump, but sometimes it's real technology that just gets sidelined because some speculator came in and the price up and then exited to make himself a lot of profit. So we're trying to do as much as we can to make sure that that kind of thing doesn't happen, that our token price is a steady rise to support the network when it's running, because that really is the reason for the token, is to pay node operators.
makes sense. Makes sense. I've asked YOM like questions specific to YOM, and I have like a
Sure.
few more. But then before I go towards it, I want to ask more about your background and like where do you come from, and like
Well,
how did you get the idea of YOM with like other co-founders?
my favorite topic, I get to talk about myself. This is what my wife says, that's your favorite topic, just talking about you. Um, so my background, I started making video games back in 2000. I had my first job, so 25 years at this point. Originally, I went to art school and came out with a degree in animation. So I was doing level building and animation back on the GameCube and PlayStation 2 days is where I started. Um, then after about 8 years or 7 years of being an artist, but watching, I was frustrated because I would see decisions get made that I didn't understand why they were making these decisions. I asked to get moved into into a more of a management role. So the bulk of my career, I was a producer in making video games. The producer kind of sits as a project manager role. In my best studios, I was partnered with a project director. So he was a creative mind, and I was the one trying to keep the books and the staff organized, the task tracking, that kind of thing. Eventually, I took in some roles where I was leading studios and leading production department in studios, and then leading full studios and leading doing other kind of front end things. I worked. I published like almost a dozen VR titles. Did some educational titles for tablets and for mobile devices. You kind of got away from. I did some console games, but didn't do a lot of console games. And then in 2017, I discovered blockchain and Bitcoin. Bought some Bitcoin, bought some Ethereum when it was nice and low. Not nearly enough, but I should have bought more. But that's what we always say. And then in 2019, games and blockchain started coming together. So I had a choice to go into VR or Web3 games, and I decided to chase Web3 games because as much as I like VR, I think that it's got there's a barrier, there's a block for people who either get motion sickness or don't want to buy a headset. I felt like, and I still feel like, the Web3 gaming and just gaming using Web3 technology is probably better said that way. It's got the longer life. So I was working with the Metaverse project for a little while, and then so Andy, who's our CCO, like he hits up our sales and marketing, well, our sales team mostly. He and I worked together at the last project that I was on, and when he discovered that YOM was around and was looking for a change in direction and a change in leadership, he and I paired up, met up with Yort, who's currently the CEO. At the time, he was a CTO of YOM. And we paired up the three of us, and then we brought in Rohan, who was also part of that original team, and changed the direction of YOM away from that metaverse building space into the DePIN that we now are. And that was in 2024. So in January 2024. So that's one version of my background. I hope I didn't leave out anything important.
Yeah, no, I think it pretty much it pretty much like covers up everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a follow-up question, but like it slipped my mind. I think if it comes back, I'll ask again. Yeah.
Sure.
Uh, okay. In terms of the infrastructure for the dev side, uh, on like uh, the node or the device, how does uptime monitoring or like the hyperauth work to make sure that in case, let's say, a host node or like a GPU or like a system like goes down, it's offline, uh, while a user is trying to stream the game, because I think the big challenge, especially for like the game studios, will be that okay, if this happens, users might be like disappointed that okay, my game connection is lost, and like it takes a lot of time to like to switch between other other nodes, and like and vice versa. So like how what exactly is the method that you have in place, so that like the devs don't lose the players?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a challenge for any kind of cloud gaming, even when the centralized cloud gaming's the network interruption to the player stream is always just going to be something that anybody ought to be concerned about. So for YOM, what we do is we have the orchestrator does check every node, at regular intervals very quickly to see who's got the uptime, who's got the game available for the person who wants to play. But then we also rank everyone's node, each of the nodes, based on one of the criteria is how many hours do they have, and do they disconnect the correct way. So what we have is an app that you can access. It's a web app, but you get there on your phone. If you're running a node, it'll show you the status of your node, how many streams are currently streaming, that kind of thing. And if you want to get your computer back again, you tell it what time you'd like to get it back, and the orchestrator says, okay, stop taking work. I think it's an hour or maybe 45 minutes before that time that you want your computer back. So it stops allocating new players to your node. Now, this works out really well when there's sample games that last, 5 to 20 minutes, because there's always you can always tell it if it's got a 40-minute window. You kind of know when the your computer's going to be back to you. But when the session lengths are longer, or if the player, if the node operator just wants his computer back immediately and they want to just disconnect, it's a penalty, and it affects the rating of that node. So as the orchestrator is going to find work and farm work out to everybody, it does look for those nodes who are the most reliable, that have the least disconnects. It's one of the criteria, along with how many hours they've been up, how much YOM is stored in that same wallet, the speed to the end user. All those things kind of play into how much work it gets farmed to someone. So there's no guarantee that it won't get disconnected. But again, that's the same with every cloud service. The orchestrator does find you a replacement as soon as it does go down. But most of the game studios now realize if they're going to be going to the cloud, they've got to have constant save going on. So that system it doesn't really fall necessarily to us. It's the game developers who are going, okay, we're saving progress along the way. So if the disconnect does happen from our cloud or from the Amazon cloud, whichever, the game can reconstitute where you left off as soon as you get back in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what you're saying is that unlike other game providers, YOM actually has like a good filter process that okay, it filters out the nodes based on how they have how they have like acted in the previous runs or sessions.
They're constantly getting scored. And some of the things that affect that score also is how much community activity they also provide. If we have a way to get points from doing things like retweeting and using our name out in public, so that's part of our Discord group too. That'll get expanded as we go live with mainnet.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get to the next one, which is uh, what type of data is YOM going to log? Since we have like the machine ID of peak inside the nodes, and can Web2 game devs or studios use this data in any way?
Yeah, so there are different regions of the world, strangely enough, well, maybe not so strange. Different regions of the world have different regulations on what you can capture and store. And so obviously we'll fall in line with whatever the region is, what the regional government is saying that we have to do. But some of the things we'd like to be able to provide to the game developers is obviously what region of the world is their game, getting a lot of traction, and should they expand in that direction. The length of play session, the so the number of play sessions, the length of the play session, they should have the ability to know if disconnects are happening at the point that they expect it to be happening, like, I've got to a save point and then I disconnect, or if people are just quitting after a certain event in the game. But that also could be a partnership with the game developers. They can also capture their own analytics to see how the gameplay is affecting players. The average transfer rate, right? The speed in which the game is being transferred at, because we do have for the game developers, we have a system that makes it less expensive for games that are more optimized to encourage optimization of the games. So that kind of data will be transferred also as well. I think that's kind of brushing the top level surface of it. Give me enough information.
Uh, I'll have to analyze it again and see if it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and then another like a follow up question to this would be like, will we I mean, ever see big titles on YOM, or like the big game developers on YOM?
I mean, do we expect that they will be? Down the track? We do. I don't think we necessarily want to tax our system right out of the gate with the biggest game possible. That seems like it's fraught with peril, right? So I think we'd be just as happy here at the beginning to work with small, mid-sized titles that have got some buzz. And again, we don't necessarily have to be the only delivery system. I mean, we would certainly expect that game developer studios should try us along with several different other methods to get their game out there. They should still put the game up on Steam or in the Epic Store. They should still do download and installs, but not everyone's going to be able to do that. So have a version that's available on our network as well. We don't look to replace; we look to enhance game adoption. So I think we're going to be measured. We do want to make sure that we're not having a very heavy lift on the network before it gets expanded to the length, to the size that can handle a big lift. But at the same time, we don't want to be such light traffic that people who are operators aren't earning rewards. So it's a matter of finding that balance. So far, we've got projections for what our ramp should be, but then we end up having a conversation with some big names, and we're like, okay, well, they want to come on board. Maybe we need to change our projections to match what they're looking for. We have done a little bit of, hey, maybe go with a different game in your library before you come in with that big one, just to kind of temper expectations, because we'd rather under promise and over deliver than the other direction, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. If like a big title is like, it's too hot to handle for like your servers, it would be like better to have a different version of a node in the future which can handle like these like harder titles.
Yeah, or put a sample up, right? Don't put the whole game up. Put a sample of your game up, and then again point to the download and install site, and then you can hook people that way. So that's certainly a path that we'd like to show at the very largest studios.
Yeah. How are the pre-orders for like your device looking like, and how are the game like the publisher requests looking like?
The publisher pipeline has gotten a little full. Like we're not closing it off, but it's pretty steep, and we're going again to the Tokyo game event that's coming up in a month. So that's going to probably add more games into the pipeline. So that part has been really encouraging. It's a light way to put it. The hardware sales, we haven't really done a big push. We had a bunch of signups from people who are interested. This is the drive now is to get people who are hearing about us for the first time to sign up for our newsletter, so that when we make the hardware sale live, everyone has an equal chance to get in and get their hardware at the kind of the same speed. So we're not doing like a whitelist or anything like that. We don't feel like that's necessary. We don't think it's helpful, but we do want people to get the word that's gone out. So the newsletter that's on our website is probably the best way for people to get notified that the sales have gone live. And then we're working with a partner to actually do the distribution. So it's not being done from our website, but from a partner's website, and all that's yet to be announced. But the first wave is 300 pieces of hardware. So it's not like it's going to be available to very many people. Where our hope is that we get a wide enough distribution location-wise that this 300 is helpful. If it ends up that 250 of that 300 goes to, say, India, and we need to cover the rest of the world, we've got a plan for that as well. But we don't think that's going to be the case. We think they'll be pretty well spread out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wanted to get like okay, so usually in terms of and when there's like a hardware or something launching in the market, we usually have like a wait list of people who want to like buy it instantly. I mean, I just wanted to know that like if there's like a huge like demand of the product in the market.
Yeah, we haven't opened up any kind of list besides our newsletter mailing list, which is kind of acting in that way. And that has grown over to that's gotten well past 300. I could say that.
So yeah, I mean, good luck, good luck with the sales. I mean, if it hits the number, then it's like a first milestone achieved, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm done with the my end of the questions. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that this kind of thing is helpful? If like you're the first person I've tried this with, should I also bring other people who are finding us for the first time on board for something like this and let them ask questions? You think it's been useful?
I think a better way would be to do like a community AMA.
Yeah,
uh, like rather than an interview like this, I mean, it makes sense to have like a community AMA with like a co-host or like a community member. I mean, who's good at, let's say, like doing and like managing spaces and stuff. It's good to like do it with them instead of like an interview. Yeah.
are you are you angling for a job, Leo?
Yes. Potentially. You never know.
Hey, never know. You're good at this, and you've got a pretty good following on Twitter. I think your work is really
uh,
good. So, I got some people are saying Adrian is giving you 100%, and then people are looking at you. So maybe that's what we
I
end up
have
doing.
I have a few friends. As
Yeah.
let's just say I have a few friends.
All right. Let me give that some consideration too. I do. So it came up in today too, because I'm doing this space or excuse me, this broadcast with you and tomorrow um, with Martin. The question became: are the videos more? Are they as helpful as the spaces are? Because we know that there's a lot of blockchain activity going on in Twitter Spaces, and my counter to that was, I can mine these videos to make shorts for YouTube Shorts and TikTok. So when I have video content, I can actually double up on that video content and use it on other channels. And I've already got so many spaces lined up that I don't think I needed to do these particularly in spaces. But maybe the real answer is both. We do some videos and we do some Twitter spaces, Twitter AMAs that we ourselves host to the community.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen a bit of like my profile, but like even spaces can be clipped as content. But again, I mean, of course, you can't use them in like other platforms as you can with your videos. But then again, with the videos, I think it works better if it's like a podcast based video, and then
Yeah.
it can be used. But then again, both of them have like a different use case, I would say. Spaces work way better with I mean, especially if you want to like connect with the community. Spaces,
Yeah.
or let's say like the Discord AMAs, or whatever is good. I mean, if you have like a community on X, then you can go for X. If you have like a community on Discord, then like of course go for like that channel. It depends.
The other thing about YouTube and video content is it's more evergreen. It'll last on the channel for a while. People can do a deep dive. It's harder to go back and listen to old spaces to dig them up and listen to them again. So that's kind of
That's that's
again,
why that's why that's why you hire a clip guy,
yeah, we
a
do
guy,
that
a
too.
guy, a guy to like clip the spaces.
Yeah. But you're right, for bringing people up in the audience up to the microphone spaces is very good for that. So. Um, and so we're hosting spaces every Thursday at noon Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central European time. We do host a space, and we're doing the one that's coming up this week. The topic is on AAA quality, what that really means, AAA quality games, what it means. So that's going to be an interesting space too, talking more about games and less about DePIN in that one. But we do that regular spaces too. I think that a community only spaces or an AMA spaces that is not on the schedule, but I probably ought to look at doing that. Again, over the next 2 months, as we bring in more people into the community for the first time, those AMAs become more and more important. So let's totally look at that.
I think an important aspect of the spaces or the videos would be to bring in more gaming aspect, to bring a more gaming audience and not really blockchain audience, because that's really important to the project. I mean, because all of the narrative around YOM is around cloud gaming, right? I mean, decentralization is of course a big part of it, but then it's not what you guys want to onboard in the end. It's not really I mean, the gamers or the developers, they don't really care about the crypto or the blockchain aspect of it in general. If I mean,
Right.
if a gamer wants to play the game, they just want to play the game.
Yeah, it's true, but now it's true but we're we're a double-sided marketplace, right? So we're selling network time to game developers, and publishers. So that's the one end of that we sell. It's the network time, and then the other side that we're selling is the hardware to host a node, and that requires that you have a gaming rig and you understand blockchain enough that you can receive your payment in our currency. So it is. So you're right in a way, right? We do want to attract gamers. Mostly, we want to attract the gamers because we want to get them to host a node on their hardware. As far as getting them excited about the games in our network, that's really a marketing effort for the gaming studios, less so for us, because we are again a marketing spend for them. They're going to be putting up the website where they put it, or they're going to host a game. They're going to put the game stream wherever they want to put it. We just give them the stream to do that with. So as much as we want, the reason we're trying to attract gamers is because we want them to operate a node for us and earn that passive income.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right, Leo, this has been awesome. I appreciate you asking me these questions and giving me a chance to kind of bounce some of these answers off of you, so the community can hear the kinds of things that you're wondering.
No, it was awesome to have this conversation for the first time. I'm not on this stage a lot of. I mean, I do a lot of spaces. I speak on a lot of spaces, but I'm never with a 1:1 conversation. I mean, live with anyone. So
yeah, well,
this was interesting.
I have seen you on a couple of spaces I've been in this past couple of spaces. I'm like, oh, look, there's GadgetLeo. He's getting involved. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, when I know someone, I know they are I mean, it's good to be connected with the builders, because they always have a mindset or an ideology which is way different from how a KOL would think. So I mean, I always go to spaces where I mean a builder is speaking or a guy I know is speaking.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I hope this was helpful. Again, jump into our comments of the stream in the YouTube or on Twitter, and let us know what you think. If we should do more of these, if I should bring Leo on as the host for our own spaces, let me know. And then again, sign up for our newsletter on the website. That's the best way to find out when the nodes are going on sale, if that's where your interest is. There's also, by the way, a calculator on the website too that'll help you estimate what your yields could be or your reward would be if you're running a node where you are. All right, great. Thanks, Leo. We'll talk again soon.
Bye-bye.
See ya. I'm just going to end the stream.